Good afternoon. This is my great pleasure here to be as a reactor of the report is not easy because as you know that Dr. Lisa have already presented a very comprehensive presentation on the research that all the team have been carry on for last 8 months. So when I first met Dr. Lisa in Bangkok, I think about last year when she started thinking about that research. And we was very interested to learn about the research progress and research finding. Because as you may know that Vietnam is now becoming the lower income country. And within this context, many things happen. And most of our NGOs, civil social organization, facing a lot of challenging. So challenge is coming from the funding issues is number one, but also coming from our pressure of how I can see that innovate ourselves, to change ourselves, to become more active and more innovative actors in this context. So that is why the concept of social entrepreneur, enterprise and social entrepreneurship was introduced in Vietnam 5 years ago, which is with the CICIP is the organization that I am the founder and CEO. We did try to encourage people to change their mindset and to apply more entrepreneurship approach to address the social issue. So that is, I have 10 minutes, I think. So within 10 minutes, I just want to share with you very briefly about the social and enterprise contact in Vietnam with the hope that it may have another perspective of the social enterprise entrepreneurship, and by the end, it's also complement to the Lisa and the team research finding. And you can see that, okay, it's not working. Okay, for us, for CICIF, we identify and define social enterprise as in the very broad definition. And I don't want to repeat the definition of what is a social enterprise because it maybe depend on different perspective. And but for us, first we identify all the people, organization who come up with solution, more business entrepreneurial solution for the social issues. It's a social enterprise or social So we can in our last in 2011 we conducted the first mapping exercise of social enterprise in Vietnam, and at that time we identified about 200 social enterprise which they consider themselves as a social enterprise, and they pass our kind of assessment process is whether or not they have a social mission and they also have a business model to create the wealth. So, as you can see that most of our social self-identified social enterprise, they are not for profit, and they try to address the market failure and social problem, and they also try to provide service and create a job for disadvantaged people. Why but they are, you can see that 200 is not many, but you can see that social enterprise, social entrepreneurship for us, it can be developed or can be transformed from a bigger population of NGOs, of the community-based organization with cooperative association, professional association, and the SME, small and medium enterprise as well. And we conduct the research and we found it's a quite amazing, exciting number of over 165,000 organizations that could be and transformed to be social enterprise, or they included some element of social enterprise in their operation. That can be presenting in the target population, the clients that they are targeting, or the profit distribution mechanism, you can see. So we started with this research in 2011, and this is our baseline for our policy advocacy for government to recognize social enterprise as a major development player in Vietnam. So we can see that due to very complex and diverse background of social enterprise, where the social enterprise and social entrepreneur can be come up with, we identify that maybe now in Vietnam there are 4 mainstream of the social enterprise. So the number one is we call that emerging social enterprise. It means a social enterprise who are led by social entrepreneurs. And they could be the very young people who are graduate from university, or who are, people tired of making profit from the business, but they want to set up the new organization, new business, but that to serve the poor and disadvantaged population. And so now number is about 200 or more than that. And we also see the trend of non-profit social organization who are under pressure of the funding cut from donor, and also want to who are also identify the potential market for their service or product to develop their own social enterprise. And I can see that the number of the CSO organization who want to develop the social business as under the same structure of NGO, or they want to separate it as a social enterprise as a part of the NGO master organization is increasing now in Vietnam. And the third category of social enterprise is that Lisa also mentioned is about the business, inclusive business, who are who are the SME who aim to share value with want to create the social value and business profit as well, and including the poor in the business model. And the fourth one, we can see a lot of grassroots, community-based enterprise, which is developed by social people, by local people to address the local need, which is unmet need. That is a mainstream government or the commercial business. They are not very targeting to. So that is the 4 trend of the social enterprise in Vietnam. As you can see that cross the 4 trend, I can see the poor as the poor as a primary stakeholders. And you can see that in because this organization, they provide training and they are mean for social inclusion. That means that they provide vocational training or job creation for the disadvantaged population. They also is a mean to empower the disadvantaged and vulnerable population through the entrepreneurship and social development program. They also provide the public goods or service that to the marginalized the population, which is the government and corporate, normal corporate company. They don't really care because it's of the less profitable market. They can also is a mean to improve the value chains when they include the poor and to the value chains and maximize and sustain the poor value in the value chains. And the social enterprise, as I mentioned, also is a way to address the market failure. As they try to address unmet need of the poor and also try to provide more innovative solution for the existing social and economic issues. That is the conventional business they are ignored too. For example, like the climate change, new energy, or waste management. So I also try to respond to what the Lisa that in the research has to try to categorize the social enterprise into the transactional and transformational and social inclusion business. I try to apply that framework to Vietnam to see whether or not it's fit or is something different. So in terms of transactional service, as yes, of course, as you can see, it's very popular in many countries, including Vietnam. This is no question about this, how is this. As you can see, that CSO and NGO in Vietnam for a long time, for last 20 or more than 20 years, is a vehicle to provide microfinance, also the market connection for the poor, to help them to connect the local product to the bigger market. They also try to develop the value chain for the in a labor-intensive agricultural product, for example, like coffee, cacao, tea, or coconut. They also provide the vocational training and job creation for disadvantaged people. And so many things that is already mentioned in the report, I think is applicable for Vietnam. And here in the picture, you can see a couple of the social enterprise that they are providing such service for the poor. But in here, I just want to reflect a little bit my personal reflection in this transactional service. In this morning section, when I was sitting in the session with we share the research in Bangladesh and Indonesia, my question to the speaker, to the Ainun, yes, is that is any, is that what are the similarity and also the difference between the NGOs doing the livelihood activity and the social enterprise? And I think yeah, we know that social enterprise is a hybrid field, so it's very hard for us to have very clear cut and to see, yes, this one is a social enterprise and another one is another social enterprise. It's very, very difficult. But anyway, I try to give another perspective. Is you see that most of this activity is already carried out, done by the CSO, by our local NGO already. And what they are doing is that I think that they are applying the social entrepreneurship as approach to address the need and to try to empower the local community. But very few of them apply this approach to themselves to transform the organization to become a social enterprise as a little bit more independent identity. So it's a little bit different between that the NGO or CSO continue to providing their livelihood project than to set up a series of community-based social enterprise at community level. Because the challenge for the most of the NGO project, livelihood project in developing countries, including Vietnam, is a sustainability. Everybody knows, most of the people know that when we have a program, the project, it seems that everything is going very well. But then after the project is finished, very few of them are sustained after the project finished. So the question, the key here is how we can empower the local people to establish a mechanism, institution, to carry on this project. So the social, local, community-based social enterprise, it could be one way to address this challenge. So for that, I go with Lisa's recommendation about between the transactional and transformative, and I would go for the transformative. So for me, social enterprise should be focus on transformative rather than only for transaction. Because transaction, many other organizations also doing that job already. Yeah. And of course, you know that we still have, given the long history of transactional service to the poor, we have less experience on transformative service for the poor. But it doesn't mean that we don't have it. We have some good, many, not not many, but a lot of good experience, good story of the community-based, grassroots community-based organization who can be transforming from the development project, or they can be formed by local people. So here is a two example. One is a Sapana Pro. It's a one community-based, social enterprise. It was initiated by, and owned by the ethnic minority in the Sapa in the north of Vietnam, who are, making the local product at a high level, so they can sell the product in the bigger and high value market, and they organize themselves as a company, and they are led by the local people. And it's the same, when we work with many others projects, we try to build capacity and set up the self-management group of the women working on handicap, for example, like in the case of Mekong Plus. Mekong Plus is NGOs working in the South Vietnam, and they are creating two separate social enterprise under the Mekong Plus. Number one is Mekong Quill, and another one is the Mekong Creation, to build capacity and also to run as a business in which the poor was as a part of the process. Okay, and in the third category that the research recommend about is about inclusive service for the poor. But in here, I change a little bit to unmet basic needs service because it doesn't matter. It's a free or pay service. It's a matter is the unmet need of the more less more vulnerable population as met. So it could be met by the unmet need could be met by from the NGO program, from the beneficiary, from whatever program, or by independent social enterprise itself. So we encouraging the social enterprise try to provide such service for the vulnerable people, and we also encourage them to think out of the charity, like giving service. So we try to educate and to let the people to try to give reasonable and affordable service for the poor rather than to provide the free service for the poor. Yes. And you can see that there is a number of the projects that we are supporting here. For example, like when we work with many different I think projects that I may don't have time to go through, but we provide innovative basic service such as water sanitation. There is an organization, the companies, they provide their water, how to say, lọc nước là gì Phương nhỉ? Purer. Okay, for the poor that provide at a very reasonable price. So I think that provides in order to sustain and to try to overcome the trap of the being unsustainable and depending on the grant, we try to encourage people to create a strong business model together with social model. For us, social enterprise is a hybrid, and they need to consider to strong in both social business model is a way they create the social values, and business model when they can sustain and provide their kind of economic value as well. So that is a social enterprise for me. And it's most of the social enterprise that we are working with is we're trying to have a kind of balance. Sometimes one is bigger than better than other, but that is they need to be aware about that. Okay, so that is my reflection about the key finding of the research, and here I have a few recommendations to add to propose. Oh yeah, right. So I can see that in the research, research team proposed to have a national platform for partnership between different stakeholders. I would like we all together to build a regional program, regional platform for that, in which all of us here as a CSO, we work with the development partner like Oxfam, like the Koika, whoever company, and also with government as well. So at the lesson learned from Vietnam that when we can see that the regional or international movement, the national movement also benefit from regional and international movement. So we want to first that is my number one proposal. And number two proposal is we want to see to promote and advocate for more grassroots social enterprise to overcome the challenge. Now the livelihood project, is a first thing now. It's about the transaction and transformation, as I mentioned earlier. So it's maybe that could be the strategy or for the supporting organization like Oxfam or others for us here to thinking about creating and supporting, building more grassroots social enterprise rather than to continue to livelihood project. And number three, of course, is about ecosystem building to nurture self. I agree with what Lisa mentioned. Is about like policy research, knowledge sharing, finance. But in general, we want to build an ecosystem where we have knowledge, we have a policy, we have a finance, and we have a capacity building, we have an enabler, intermediary, all come together to support for self. Otherwise, you can see that when you talk about the number of the NGOs, it could be a lot. Like in Bangladesh, something 100,000 of the organization, but I'm not so sure that how many % of them, except microfinance, are truly the social enterprise. And so they are kind of really apply business or entrepreneur approach to address the social issue in more sustainable way and more innovative way. And okay. And so I also agree that SAF is a key part of social enterprise movement. So both SAF and social enterprise need to be integrated in the development agenda. It's not only about SAF, it's about social enterprise, it's a movement as well. Yes. That is my reflection about the research report, and I really appreciate Lisa to give me the 10 minutes to share my personal thought. I just received it a couple days ago, and maybe some of my opinion and my presentation could be questionable or can be discussed by the audience here. So on the audience, so comment feedback is welcome. As for the inclusion, for the last, when I put the 4 impact here, for me, non-profit, for-profit doesn't matter. Market, non-market doesn't matter. If we can bring the impact to our target population, to our people, that is what we are aiming at. Thank you.